first, we got to talk to Block Club Chicago. We're talking to Manny Ramos, who is behind this story that he broke. We've been talking about Operation Midway Blitz, and I think a lot of people kind of thought somebody was making money, but didn't really realize who was making money and how much money was in all of this operation. Obviously, it's going on in the Chicago area. Manny, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me on. It's great to be with you guys.
Okay, so when it comes to this, obviously this is happening in Chicago. So obviously there has to be some type of connection with companies, businesses, someone in the Chicago area. Tell us who's profiting from these ICE raids going on in our communities.
Yes, I mean, this is one of the questions that we've had since all of this began, over a month ago. And so we started looking at the databases that are provided by the federal government. And what we found is that, there are several companies, close to a dozen companies at the very least, that saw an increase in federal contracts related to Operation Midway Blitz. These are companies that have partnered with a variety of agencies such as ICE, such as DHS, such as Border Patrol, and the range that are all involved in this operation. And what we found is there's a relocation company, part of a real estate company, that has helped move ICE agents across Chicago area and possibly across the country. And that contract was worth, in total, about $7.4 million. So a big contract over 4 months, which ended the day that Midway Operation Blitz began. We also learned about United Tactical Systems, which have been providing pepper balls and air-powered guns to federal agents, which we have seen deployed in and around the Chicago area, specifically at the ICE detention facility in Broadview. And so with all of this going on, we just wanted to hone in to see who is profiting. I mean, we've seen local businesses in Chicago not doing that great at the moment, so it's interesting to see who has benefited from it.
Yeah. Have you been able to get in touch with any of these companies? Have they been able to respond to your findings?
Unfortunately not. No, we've emailed, we've called, but none of them have responded to our inquiries or requests. We did actually reach out to one small firm based out of the southwest side of Chicago who was providing Border Patrol with pizza ovens and griddles for cooking. They wouldn't go into details about what the contract was, other than, they provided this stuff to them. They don't know where it went. And they also said that they stay out of sort of like what operation missions any of the federal government agencies they work with are involved in.
Manny, we're in a government shutdown. I think today marks day 24. There's a lot of back and forth on who's to blame. This group is saying this group of people is to blame. When you talk about $7 million in 4 months, we're talking about one company. Were you able to find out some of the findings in terms of financials for these other companies? We can't reach an agreement on a budget, but you can throw out $7 million for 4 months in one location. We're not talking about the other ICE operations that have been going on in other places.
Exactly, and it should note that that $7 million that they received over those 4 months was a boost in their federal government contracts. These are the largest contracts that this company has landed since it's been working with the federal government. So they're significant even for the companies themselves. We've also learned of a Chicago, a Swedish-based company called Invisio Communications, but their headquarters in the United States is in Chicago. And, they earned close to $400,000 for providing tactical headsets to Border Patrol for communications. We learned about a Harvard-based, Harvard, Illinois-based Proliance Corp, who was selling, or leasing equipment for dental panoramic machines, X-ray machines for ICE detention facilities, including ones like at Broadview. Motorola Solutions, based in Virginia, but also they were providing access to their Starcom 21 radio network for communications for operations in Chicago. So there are several, including what I found most interesting was a company called Arcus Group, who has been providing fencing and barrier protections for federal buildings, including the federal courthouse in Chicago and Rockford.
Yeah, I did see that new fencing put up and concrete barriers in front of the Dirksen Federal Building. Talking about some of these companies and businesses, I don't know if this is a good question for you, Manny, but do you think that they should be scared that maybe protesters will end up going to their headquarters, to their area to protest there because they want them to stop, giving them the tools, ICE the tools to cause this havoc?
Yeah, I can't answer that question, right? I mean, they didn't respond to any of my questions regarding their support of this mission. Whether or not protesters decide to, picket their offices or anything like that, that's beyond me. My point is just to sort of show some accountability on who's working with this, who's profiting off of these measures, while families are having to deal with this in their communities.
Well, Manny, first off, let's say really good work on this because I mean, it was some good questions that went into the digging behind this. I do want to ask you this. You mentioned the company that supplied the pepper balls, right? And we remember just yesterday outside of the discount mall, ICE agents tried to get into that parking lot. They encountered a security guard who asked a very valid question, like you're asking valid questions as a journalist. Where is your warrant? Was the question that security guard asked to the ICE agents. It was not supplied, but instead that security guard was hit with pepper balls. Even Greg Bavino apparently threw one right into the area of the face of that security guard. My follow-up question is, why do you think it is important for people that read your article, for people to know this information at a time like this where it is so crucial? This is happening in Chicagoland every single day.
Yeah, I mean, people should know where the weapons are coming from that are hurting their bodies, right? I mean, these are non-lethal weapons, right? But the impact is clear. I mean, they clog the breathing way, they irritate the eyes, they leave bruises and open wounds on bodies. So the fact that this is happening to residents in the Chicago area who are saying, hey, the approach that you're taking in enforcing your immigration operations is violent at times. They should know where the companies are that are providing this mechanism for these agents to carry out these missions.
I know this is a new report, but I'm always curious to hear from you. What has the response been from the community? Are they really, giving you the clicks and outraged as maybe you thought they'd be?
I mean, it's been received well for the most part in terms of folks who aren't for these immigration enforcement activities, right? I mean, I have heard folks who are pro-immigration activities that are happening here in Chicago that are against my kind of reporting. But when I write stories like this, I'm looking for the greater public and accountability, and I feel like this is an accountability message that can resonate with everyone.
There was a report done by another station in town, and I thought they did a fantastic job of it. They talked about, the immigration policies that were initially spoken about, as Trump was running for office. As we have now arrived here, the message was, we're going to go after the criminals. And their reporting showed that, in fact, most of the people that have been brought into custody are not criminals. Manny, you having a voice, I'm just taking it from what we're talking about here. You may have a closer voice to the community maybe than we do. What is the community telling you about all of this? And are you working on even future pieces beyond the one that was just revealed about these businesses being involved?
Yeah, our coverage in Block Club is really entrenched in immigration enforcement activities in Chicago. So our stories are going to continue coming out, including my own, and I have several in the works as well. As far as what the community members are saying, I mean, I think it's quite clear. People are afraid to go to visit businesses right now. People are afraid to go to school, to pick up their children from their classes. They're afraid to even to just hang out at a Home Depot right now, right? So the fear is palpable anywhere you go in these immigrant communities, and even outside of that, the effects are happening everywhere. So the fear is high, but also the fight is also high, right? I mean, folks are protesting and sharing their voice against these very aggressive tactics, and they will continue to do so until there's some kind of change, I feel.
You obviously you're giving us the lowdown on what's happening with some of these bigger companies, but then you think about the small businesses, as you said, especially in Little Village. I was there all day yesterday, and it was day 2 of the unrest. Obviously, people were already scared to go shopping and go to their local spots, but now they're even more scared. So really, what is the seriousness, with these small businesses? Is it going to just continue to be kind of a ghost town until you think things are cleared up?
Yeah, I don't know what the future holds, right? I know it's not just Little Village, it's Belmont Cragen, it's all these other neighborhoods where the businesses are struggling too. And even business owners are afraid, right? Like I read a story the other day where one of the business owners, a restaurant owner in Little Village, is having to keep their doors locked just in case ICE agents run in there, or they're rushing in, community members who are running from ICE into their business to hold them there or take them home. This is just going to continue on until these operations stop. And I can't say, I don't think anyone can say other than the federal government when the plan is to stop this.
You know what I find very interesting about this, Manny, is Chicago is a city of communities, right? You have all of these different pockets of neighborhoods that have different cultural makeup, right, of every single neighborhood. You have Chinatown, right? You have places where it's mostly African American, black folks, right? And so it's very interesting to me that when we talk about immigration in this country, that we immediately go to the migrants that recently arrived here, but we're not going to any of these other communities where there could be people harboring there too. I think it's just a very interesting conversation. And sadly, a lot of people don't want to have it. It's one of those hard conversations, to really talk about. And we appreciate your reporting and looking forward to what you put out next. We thank you, because that comes with courage. I'm sure some of, what you've put out, it comes with people emailing you and maybe even looking for you. I don't know, but it comes with that in this environment in which we're living right now, which is very interesting times, to say the very least.
It is. And thank you for allowing me to talk about this story.